Welcome to your deep dive. Today, we're tackling the world of language learning.
Okay.
Specifically, how to improve English speaking skills.
Yes.
With a focus on building comfort and confidence, which we know is important to you.
Right.
You've given us a really interesting set of sources. It's like you've been exploring YouTube for English learning.
Yeah, and we noticed you're particularly interested in the English is Easy with Connor channel and his series of super sentence exercises.
Oh, yeah, Connor.
It's a fascinating approach that uses storytelling and humor to engage learners.
Knowing your focus on building confidence in speaking, we thought Connor's approach might be a great fit for you.
Yeah.
It really emphasizes practice and encourages a playful approach to language, which can be very helpful for overcoming the fear of making mistakes.
Exactly.
Which everyone has.
And that's a common hurdle for language learners. So let's dive into these super sentences and see what makes them tick.
Okay, so what exactly assess a super sentence in Connor's world?
Well, it's not about capes and superpowers, although it can feel pretty powerful when you master one.
Right.
Connor's super sentence method is all about building complexity gradually.
Okay.
He starts with a simple sentence, something like,
Yeah.
a woman goes to a job interview.
Okay, pretty straightforward so far.
Right. But then he starts adding layers.
Okay.
Like, the woman, nervous but excited about landing her dream job, heads to the interview in downtown Denver, hoping she doesn't trip over her words or spill coffee on her new outfit.
Wow.
You see?
It's like building a house brick by brick.
Yeah.
Each phrase adds a bit more to the story.
And that's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
He keeps adding these details, building this elaborate sentence.
Right.
But it all stays grammatically correct.
Right.
That's crucial for building fluency because you're not just memorizing isolated words. You're learning how to structure thoughts and express yourself in longer, more sophisticated ways.
It's like he's showing you how to construct those longer sentences that native speakers use so effortlessly, but in a way that feels manageable and even fun.
Exactly. And then comes the twist.
Okay.
Remember that job interview super sentence?
Yeah.
The woman is all prepared, heads into the interview, and then realizes she has toilet paper stuck to her shoe.
Oh, no.
You know?
Oh, that's so embarrassing.
I always find this example interesting because it highlights how common and sometimes embarrassing experiences can be used for language learning.
Yeah.
I mean, who hasn't been there?
No, it's happened to me more than once.
Me too.
It's just...
The relatability is key.
Yeah.
It taps into the power of emotional connection.
Right.
When something makes us laugh or feel deeply, it creates a stronger memory imprint. So these funny twists aren't just for entertainment.
Right.
We're actually boosting your brain's ability to retain the language.
So it's not just about being funny. It's a clever way to make the language stick.
Precisely. And that's particularly relevant for you since you mentioned wanting to avoid feeling overwhelmed. This approach keeps things engaging and breaks down complex structures into manageable chunks.
Right.
Instead of feeling bombarded with grammar rules, you're absorbed in a story.
Yeah. Let's dive into another example. There's this one about a guy searching for his glasses. He's tearing his apartment apart, retracing his steps, getting more and more frustrated. You know, that feeling when you can't find something you need.
We've all been there.
Like, where are my keys?
Exactly.
I just had them.
And just as he's about to give up, he realizes, wait for it. He's been wearing them the whole time.
Oh my gosh, classic.
Right.
That facepalm moment is so universal. But what's clever here is how Connor weaves in common expressions like throw in the towel, which means to give up.
Yes. This is a great example of an idiom, which is a phrase with a meaning that's different from the literal words. Understanding idioms is crucial for sounding natural and understanding humor in English.
Right. It's like having a secret decoder ring for social interactions.
Exactly. And Connor sprinkles in a ton of these idioms and expressions throughout his super sentences.
Oh, yeah.
Like hit the jackpot, which means to have a sudden, unexpected success. Or on cloud nine to describe a feeling of extreme happiness.
Love that one.
He explains their meanings and uses them in context within the sentences.
You know, it's not just about sounding cool or native.
Right.
These idioms often convey a feeling or situation more vividly than literal language. It's like adding spice to your speech. For example, saying someone's on cloud nine paints a much more vibrant picture than simply saying they're very happy.
It's about moving beyond basic communication and developing a richer, more expressive command of the language. This is where confidence really starts to blossom.
So we've seen how these super sentences are structured and the kind of fun, memorable elements they include. But does simply repeating funny sentences actually make you fluent?
That's a great question. And it's important to acknowledge that fluency is a complex skill that involves much more than memorizing phrases.
Yeah.
It involves understanding grammar, cultural context, and the ability to adapt language in real time.
Right.
Connor's videos provide a great foundation, but it's important to complement them with other forms of language practice and immersion.
So think of these super sentences as one piece of the language learning puzzle.
Exactly.
You still need to work on grammar, expand your vocabulary, and most importantly, practice speaking with others as much as possible.
Right. Fluency is about using language effectively and confidently in a variety of situations that requires a diverse set of skills and ongoing practice. But tools like Connor's videos can be incredibly valuable for developing a solid foundation and building that initial confidence, especially for someone like you who is looking for a fun and engaging way to practice.
Let's look at another one of Connor's super sentences to see how this plays out. This one's a classic example of how he uses humor to teach about common anxieties. Picture this. A happy woman is sharing exciting news with her family.
Ah, yes, the engagement ring scenario.
Yes.
This one is great for exploring family dynamics and those moments when things get a little complicated.
Exactly. So this woman is beaming, showing off her stunning engagement ring. Everyone's congratulating her. And then, bam, her sister announces she just got a promotion, totally stealing her thunder.
Now, stealing someone's thunder is another great example of an idiom. It means to take attention away from someone else. Often unintentionally, the humor lies in the relatability. We've all experienced those moments when someone shifts the attention away from us, haven't we?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Especially.
It's so true. And Connor subtly introduces cultural nuances through these idioms. Stealing someone's thunder reflects certain cultural norms around attention and achievement in English-speaking cultures.
Right.
Understanding these nuances is key for navigating social situations and understanding humor.
That's a valid point. I'd also argue that the effectiveness of this method depends on the learner's personality.
Oh, yeah.
Some might find it too gimmicky, while others thrive on this kind of playful learning.
That makes sense. So how about we take a closer look at a super sentence that revolves around the classic dream of hitting the jackpot?
The lottery ticket story, a classic tale of hope, unexpected fortune, and the potential for life-changing events, and a great example of how Connor uses storytelling to teach grammar subtly.
Exactly. It starts with a hopeful man buying a lottery ticket at his local store, not really expecting much, but dreaming about what it would be like to win. Then, to his surprise, he matches all the numbers and realizes he's hit the jackpot.
Notice how this sentence subtly helps you practice verb tenses. You move from the past of buying the ticket to the present realization of winning, and then hint at the future impact. It's like a mini grammar lesson hidden within a compelling story. Think of it like a movie. It has a beginning, a rising action where things get interesting, a climax where something exciting happens, and then a resolution after. Connor's sentences follow the same structure, which makes them engaging and easy to follow.
And it's packed with useful expressions. On a whim, meaning impulsively, or hit the jackpot, which we mentioned earlier. These phrases come up all the time in conversations, so learning to use them naturally is a big win.
While it offers various benefits, relying solely on this method could lead to neglecting other important aspects of language learning, like reading and writing.
Right. That's a really good point. It's all about balance. So Connor's method is just one tool in your language learning toolbox. Now, for our next example, let's shift gears a bit and explore a super sentence that focuses on a different theme. This one delves into the world of home improvement DIY projects. And, well, let's just say things don't go exactly as planned.
Ah, yes. The house painting fiasco. A reminder that sometimes, even with the best intentions, things can go awry. And in those moments, it's important to know when to call in the professionals.
It's a valuable life lesson wrapped in a hilarious language learning package. So this tired but determined man decides to paint his house by himself over the weekend. He starts early Saturday morning, armed with nothing but a paintbrush and some old cans of paint. Sounds like a recipe for disaster, right?
It certainly doesn't bode well. And as the sentence progresses, we see his optimism slowly crumble as he realizes the enormity of the task. It's a reminder that growth happens outside your comfort zone, just like working out a muscle to develop fluency. You need to challenge yourself with new vocabulary, complex grammar structures, and real-life speaking opportunities.
He's halfway through the weekend covered in paint from head to toe, barely made any progress, and wondering how on earth he'll finish by Sunday. You can feel his frustration building.
The sentence beautifully captures that descent into despair using vivid imagery and relatable language. It's a masterclass in showing, not telling, and it reminds us that language learning is a journey, not a destination. There will be challenges and setbacks, but the key is to keep practicing and celebrate small victories along the way. You're going to fall a few times, but each wobble and crash brings you closer to mastering the skill.
And of course, there's a lesson to be learned. Finally exhausted and defeated, he decides to throw in the towel and call a professional.
This one highlights the power of idioms to convey complex emotions and situations succinctly. Throw in the towel perfectly encapsulates that feeling of giving up after a valiant but ultimately unsuccessful effort.
And it's a phrase that you can use in all sorts of contexts, not just home improvement. It's about knowing when to admit defeat and seek help, which is a valuable life skill in general.
Indeed, this example also showcases Connor's ability to seamlessly weave humor and practical language lessons together. You're entertained, you're learning new vocabulary, and you're even getting some life advice along the way.
It's like a language learning multivitamin. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground with these super sentence examples. Let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned before moving on to the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good. We'll explore some more of Connor's techniques and discuss how you can apply these ideas to your own language learning journey when we come back after a short break. Welcome back. We've seen some great examples of Connor's super sentences in action now. Let's zoom out and consider how effective this approach is for language learning in general. Excellent point. It's one thing to be entertained by these funny sentences, but it's another to understand why they work and how you can use similar techniques to boost your own speaking skills.
Exactly. So let's unpack some of the key techniques Connor uses and see how they align with what we know about how our brains learn languages.
One technique that stands out is his use of repetition. He doesn't just say each super sentence once.
Right.
He guides you through multiple repetitions, gradually increasing the speed and encouraging you to speak along.
It's like a workout for your tongue. At first, it feels a bit awkward and clunky, but with each repetition, the sentence becomes smoother, more natural, kind of like when you're learning a new dance routine.
A perfect analogy. That's because repetition is crucial for building muscle memory, both for physical activities and language. By repeating these complex structures, you're training your brain and your vocal cords to produce the sounds and rhythms of English more effortlessly. The first time you try that dance routine, you're stepping on toes and tripping over your own feet. But with practice, the movements become fluid and automatic language is similar.
And that's when the real magic happens. You stop overthinking every word and start to flow. You're no longer translating in your head, you're thinking and expressing yourself directly in English.
That's the ultimate goal. Connor's repetition technique helps bridge the gap between passive understanding and active use of language. It's about moving from knowing the words to actually using them in a spontaneous and natural way.
Okay, so repetition is key. What other techniques does Connor use that we can learn from?
Another crucial element is visual storytelling. He doesn't just rely on words to convey meaning. He uses vivid imagery and creates scenes in your mind.
It's like watching a movie in your head. Remember that super sentence about the guy who sees a cute girl at the bookstore? You can practically picture him working up the nerve to talk to her, his heart racing, trying to think of something clever to say.
Exactly. By creating these mental images, you're not just memorizing a string of words, you're experiencing a mini-story, which strengthens the connection between language and meaning. We tend to remember things that resonate with our own experiences and emotions, and Connor capitalizes on this by embedding language learning within relatable narratives.
It's like those memory techniques where you associate information with vivid images or locations to help you recall it later.
Precisely. And this visual storytelling also helps with pronunciation and intonation. By picturing the scene and the character's emotions, you naturally adopt a more expressive and engaging tone of voice instead of flat robotic speech. You're embodying the characters and their experiences, bringing the language to life.
It's like doing a one-person play in your head.
I love that now, building on this idea of active learning, another aspect of Connor's approach that I find quite effective is his emphasis on engagement. He constantly interacts with the viewer, asking questions, encouraging participation, and reminding them of the benefits of pushing beyond their comfort zone.
He's like that super enthusiastic coach who's always cheering you on and pushing you to do your best.
Yeah.
He makes you feel like you're part of a language learning team.
That's a great way to describe it. He fosters a sense of community and shared goals, which is incredibly motivating. And he doesn't shy away from acknowledging the challenges. He emphasizes that language learning is a journey, not a destination. There will be bumps along the way, but the key is to keep practicing and celebrate those small victories.
He often compares language learning to working out a muscle. It takes effort, dedication, and consistency to see results, but the rewards are worth it. He has this saying he repeats a lot, no pain, no gain, which is a good reminder that growth happens outside of your comfort zone.
That's a powerful message, and it applies to language learning as much as it does to physical fitness to develop fluency. You need to challenge yourself and embrace those moments of discomfort when you're stretching yourself beyond what's easy or familiar.
It's like learning to ride a bike. You're going to fall a few times, but each wobble and crash brings you closer to mastering the skill. And once you get it, the sense of freedom and accomplishment is incredible.
Exactly. And Connor's videos provide that supportive environment to practice, make mistakes, and celebrate those aha moments when things finally click. So we've seen how Connor utilizes repetition, visual storytelling, and active learning to create an engaging and effective language learning experience. But how can you take these ideas and apply them to your own journey?
That's the key question, right? Because there's no one-size-fits-all solution to language learning. What works for one person might not work for another. The key is to experiment, find what resonates with you, and most importantly, make it fun.
Absolutely. And that's where self-awareness comes in. Think about your learning style. Do you prefer audio, video, or written materials? Are you more comfortable practicing alone or with others? Once you know your preferences, you can tailor your practice accordingly.
For example, if you enjoy listening to podcasts, you could try shadowing the hosts, repeat what they say, mimicking their pronunciation and intonation, or if you're a visual learner, create flashcards with images and example sentences.
You can even use Connor's super sentences as inspiration. And don't underestimate the power of everyday conversations. Challenge yourself to use new vocabulary and grammar structures when talking to friends, colleagues, or even strangers.
It's all about finding opportunities to use the language in real-life situations. The more you do that, the more confident and fluent you'll become. Remember, fluency is not a destination, it's a journey. There will be bumps along the way, but each step you take brings you closer to your goals.
And don't forget to celebrate those small victories. Recognize your progress no matter how incremental it might seem. The key is to stay motivated and enjoy the process.
So as we wrap up our exploration of Connor's methods, here's a final thought to ponder. Think about how these super sentences could be more than just language exercises. What if they were tools for self-reflection?
Ooh, I like where you're going with this.
It's like instead of just learning someone else's sentences, you create your own super sentence about your life right now.
What a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
What would your super sentence be? What twists and turns would it include? What idioms or expressions perfectly capture your current state?
It's like using language not just to communicate, but to understand yourself better, and maybe that's the most valuable lesson of all. So we've explored Connor's techniques, analyzed his super sentences, and even started thinking about how to apply those ideas to our own language learning. I love this idea of crafting your own super sentence.
Yeah.
What a cool way to personalize this approach.
It's a wonderful way to blend language learning with self-reflection.
Yeah.
Imagine capturing the essence of your current life, your hopes, challenges, maybe even a funny twist, all in a single grammatically sound sentence.
It's like a snapshot of your journey expressed through the lens of language, and as you learn and grow, that sentence can evolve just like you.
Exactly. Think about the vocabulary you choose, the idioms that resonate with you, the way you'd structure the sentence to reflect your own narrative arc.
And for someone who's focusing on improving their spoken English, this could be an amazing exercise, not just writing the sentence, but actually saying it out loud, practicing the pronunciation, feeling the rhythm of the language flow.
I couldn't agree more. It's taking those language skills you're building and putting them to work in a truly personal and meaningful way.
So for everyone listening, consider this your challenge. Take some time to craft your own super sentence. Don't worry about making it perfect right away. Let it evolve as you do.
And remember, the most effective approach to language learning is the one that keeps you motivated and helps you connect with the language in a way that feels authentic to you.
This deep dive has given you a glimpse into one engaging method. Maybe it sparked some ideas, maybe it challenged your assumptions, whatever you take away from this. Remember that the journey of language learning is a personal one.
Embrace the process, enjoy the ride, and never stop exploring. Who knows what amazing discoveries await you along the way.